Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just had to redo this video because I was sitting here doing the video and I was 3 minutes into it and the UPS man showed up. And so normally they knock and then they leave, but he knocked and then he just stayed there, and for some reason I had to answer the door. So here we go again. I am watching the Little League World Series. It started today. I watch this every year. My sons love to watch it. And I wanted to say one thing about what they've done to Little League. About 2 years ago, they changed the bat standards. And so when you watch the Little League World Series today, you see a lot less home runs than you saw 2 years ago. A lot of people don't know this. What they did is, and they did it right as my son was turning 12 for his last year of Little League, they changed the bat standard because they said that the bats were hitting too hard and they were worried it was going to hurt kids. And those bats probably did hit too hard, but I believe they overcorrected. In the Little League that we're a part of, in the year that they switched bats, we went from 62 home runs to like 2 home runs of all the kids in the entire league for the entire year. From 62 to about 2 home runs. And so they majorly overcorrected, and I think that they will probably change that. And they need to find a happy medium and have the bats hit a little bit harder than they do now, because the bats now are awful. So the only guys you're going to see hit home runs are going to be the big bruisers in this Little League World Series. Okay, let's get this party started. I covered this the other day. Insider reveals why Coinbase UK abruptly delisted Zcash. Now, I covered this in relation to the fact I was making the point that privacy coins, in my opinion, are digital assets to stay away from, because all of the governments and the banks, they're going to ban, they don't want, especially the taxing authority, they don't want people going into these privacy coins because it makes them very difficult to track the money. So if you don't want to come up on your taxing authority's radar, don't invest in the privacy coins, in my opinion. But the other thing is, you run that risk of having your coin delisted the way that happened here. And it tells you in this article why it happened. It says, now a person familiar with the decision tells CoinDesk it's directly connected to the crypto exchange's recent change of banks from Barclays to Clearbank. According to the source, Clearbank was uncomfortable indirectly supporting a currency with features that make law enforcement's job harder. So, probably the number one privacy coin would be Monero. I believe Dash is one, and then of course Zcash is one. I'm not saying don't own them. I'm not going to be buying any for this specific reason. So, all right, moving along. This is from XRP Crypto Wolf. Coil has already sent, now think about this, Coil has already sent more than 10 billion micropayments to content creators. This is only possible because Interledger Protocol can send more than 10,000 times smaller and more frequent payments than credit cards. And this is a tweet, he's retweeting a tweet from Coil. Thanks to our subscribers, Coil has already sent more than 10 billion micropayments to creators. And basically says what we've got from XRP Crypto Wolf here. So that is big. Don't be surprised if Coil becomes a lot larger than you think and drives our prices. Now, many of you want to know why the markets went down and got killed the last couple of days. A lot of people are attributing it to this. This is a tweet from Dovey Wan. I've never seen this handle before, but this is very interesting. As per this person's tweet, or request. This thread is about the ongoing sales made by Plus Token, the biggest Chinese Ponzi scheme, which scammed 70,000 Bitcoin and 800,000 Ethereum. I mentioned it briefly in my last CoinDesk op-ed, but worth additional attention as it may cause further sales. Now, the way I read through this whole thing, and I'm going to sum it up for you here. Apparently, these guys created this Plus token, okay? And it was totally created as a Ponzi scheme for people to, pumped up and buy this, and people bought it. They sold Bitcoin or Ethereum to buy this plus token. And then once these guys had run off with everybody's money, they eventually got tracked down by authorities, and apparently these guys all got caught. Well, the wallets where all of that Bitcoin and Ethereum went have been dispersed, and apparently the authorities don't have control of those. And now whoever controls the private keys is dispersing them to different wallets, and they're selling them off because these people know that they'll eventually be tracked, and so they're getting this into fiat as fast as they can. And this is what they're saying could very well be responsible for the sell-off over the last 2 days. Now, when I see things like this is great news to me. A sell-off that is tied to this type of thing, those are the best kind of sell-offs. I've been through, I can't tell you how many sell-offs tied to this, whether it's a hack or this type of, or Mount Gox going down. I can't tell you how many sell-offs that I have been a part of that were a result of things like that. Things that have nothing to do with where this market's going, things that have nothing to do with the XRP that I hold, or the utility that the company Ripple is working on for XRP. They have nothing to do with what a wonderful technology it is. All they have to do with is that in the short run right now, and it's probably a lot shorter of a run, there's probably a lot less time that people are going to be able to manipulate the markets like this than you think, because this only involves the amount of money in the market. Once there's much more money in the market, these types of things are not going to affect it like they do now. But that is an opportunity. That's how I always see that. If the market's getting killed over something like this that has nothing to do with what's being created, where all of this is going, and the regulations that are coming in, and all of the new on-ramps and off-ramps that have been created, we are still so early that when the market gets hit down over something like this, it's a gift if you're in a position to be a buyer of digital assets, and that's what I look at it. This is a gift. These are good opportunities. Now, and let me make sure you understand what I'm saying. Now, if the reason for the market going down was something different, let's say the reason the market went down was because something was found out about Bitcoin where it's found out that a hacker through some kind of method can create new Bitcoins, and nobody can do anything about it. And so now all of a sudden there can be more than 21 million. Now that would be a killer. That would be a reason for me to sell out of my Bitcoin and never go back and just hold XRP. That would be a real market. That would be a real reason for people to sell. This is just some temporary bunch of schemers that did something and it'll go away. It's no big deal. This is nothing. But these are opportunities to buy in, is the way I see them. That's the whole point of that. Okay, Bond Crip. I'm not going to go into this article. I'm going to read to you what he's summarized here. Ripple takes a step towards decentralization as it sees a significant fall in its DUNL. There are 33 validators in the DUNL. 7 are Ripple validators. 26 are non-Ripple. 25 independent. 1 unknown, i.e. 78.8% at press time. So, and that's going to become more and more over time. I mean, this was just funny from Free American Spirit at F American Spirit. This is an article. Bitcoin breakthrough. 60 banks across 14 countries join BTC-based cross-border A new partnership will allow banks to make cross-border payments on the Bitcoin blockchain. And then he says, hey, look, BTC is a banker's coin, and he copies Tonebase, Anthony Pompliano, and Bitcoin Ben on this. Can't bash XRP now. Bitcoin riding on XRP coattails. Deal with it. Exactly. Wonder what's going to happen when those banks find out that it can take them anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours to make those payments. Okay, Sergeant Obi-Wan, banks like Citi, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, BNP, HSBC will come to Bitcoin community for a bailout, claims Max Keiser. I agree with some things Max Keiser says. I don't agree with others. So let's look at what he does say. If you want to escape money, you only have to have two choices. One is gold, and the other being Bitcoin. Altcoin market is never coming back. There's nothing any of these coins can do that Bitcoin can't do or won't be able to do shortly. Well, XRP can move in 3 to 4 seconds max, and it can do 1,500 transactions to what is, I don't remember what Bitcoin's is. It's a much cheaper transaction than Bitcoin. So I just named 3 off the top of my head, Max. We also have a company called Ripple that heads up our #1 use case for XRP, and these guys have met with almost every central bank in the world. And so meanwhile, Bitcoin really doesn't even have a leader. It's just kind of out there floating around. And we've already heard Donald Trump say that he doesn't like it. We've heard Christine Lagarde say that it's not going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum. So Max, I don't know about what you're saying there. Those banks like Citigroup, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, BNP, or HSBC will come to the Bitcoin community for a bailout. Bitcoin community will consider it, but of course it would be done on our terms. Max, they might do that, or behind the scenes they may adopt XRP as a payment method and because it's the greatest digital asset ever created, which you do not want to talk about. Okay, this is a great tweet here. This is something everybody needs to know. @_crypto reporter. For those of you that need to know, ADA is my one holding. It's my smart contract holding. I own ADA, Bitcoin, and XRP. Compare the Cardano ADA development team to any blockchain project of 200 plus. This is their, what do they call it? Input-output team members. 25 have PhDs, may not be all inclusive, with many years of experience in the crypto space. They got 25 PhDs that are working on Cardano. That's a pretty safe bet, I would say. Okay, and then Panda Ripple XRP had given us an update on the Swell on the website. Updated Swell by Ripple 2019 website. Interesting agenda. Liquidity is different now. When will digital assets go mainstream? And their keynote speakers, Mr. Kamal Kadir, Bcash CEO, and Dr. Raghuram Rahan, former IMF chief economist and director of research. Somebody else from the IMF is meeting with Ripple. Okay, and what you need to know is that this is going to come up before we know it. November 7th through the 8th, and it's going to be held in Singapore. And these are those speakers they're talking about. I keep hearing that Singapore is like the most modern city in the world. I have got to go there. Might have to do it. Now, I don't believe Ripple would even, I won't even waste my time trying to request an invite. I don't believe that they would let me in the door anyway, but I would love I would love to go to something like that, but I don't think that's happening for me. Oh well. NBK Crypto @NBKLYRAD sent me this. I love my John McAfee updates. Conspiracy theorists saying I am responsible for the drone footage of Epstein's island and demanding I admit it. Seriously, people, whoever gleaned information about what was going on there, including details of FBI searches, would be an idiot to admit it. And what they're talking about is when the FBI was doing the raid on that Jeffrey Epstein's home, he's that child trafficking pervert. When they were doing the raid, someone had a drone that was like right there on eye level or looking kind of down at the FBI agents, and you could see them in the house. I saw it on the news. But the most bizarro thing, and let me tell you what, one thing that comes with too much wealth and too much power, this at age 45, this is one thing I've learned. One thing that comes with way too much wealth and way too much power is perversion. And this guy obviously is a mega pervert. Well, let me show you something even more perverted. This is a portrait that someone that was in that home snapped a shot of a portrait that this Jeffrey Epstein had. And then remember, this is the mansion that they all these creeps went to to meet up with all these young girls that they were doing God knows what with. This portrait, Epstein had a bizarre painting of Bill Clinton in a dress, heels, in townhouse. My question is, what kind of a sicko would have something like that in their home, first of all? And the next question, think about this for a minute. If Bill Clinton was buddies with this guy, did Bill Clinton know that this painting was in there? And if he did, does that mean that Bill Clinton was just making fun of the whole Monica Lewinsky thing? and you know, by virtue of Epstein having it in there, that he's making fun of the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. So it's just bizarre, but it's weird anyway. It's just a strange thing. Who would put something like that in their home? That's just bizarre. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that maybe we should put an XRP on this dress. Maybe not. I'm not. That is one thing I'm not going to do, is put XRP on this painting. So I'm going to get rid of this quick. Thank you for listening.